The book of Revelation is just packed with action, cosmic battles, incredible praise, but there's this one moment where it all just stops. Total silence. Today, we're going to dig into what that silence is all about. Seriously, try to picture it. Heaven, right? Constant worship, angels singing, all this incredible activity, and then, suddenly, nothing. Complete and utter silence for half an hour. So you have to ask yourself, what could possibly happen that's so huge, so monumental, that it literally stops heaven in its tracks?
And here's the verse that sets it all up, Revelation 8:1. Now, this one little line has had people guessing for centuries. Most folks think it's pointing to some big future disaster. But what if the answer isn't in the future at all? What if it's already happened? That's the idea we're going to chase down today.
Okay, so first things first, we have to wrap our heads around what this silence even is. Usually we think of silence as, emptiness, right? An absence of sound. But in this case, it's anything but empty.
The idea we're looking at is this: that half hour of silence, that was heaven holding its collective breath as Jesus was on the cross. Think about that. A moment so profound, so heavy, that everything else in existence just had to stop and watch.
Yeah, so this isn't an empty silence. It is full of meaning. We're talking about the awe of the entire universe watching its own creator. It's the deep sorrow of heaven seeing the sun suffer. It's this incredible reverence for God's master plan of redemption clicking into place. It's that very instant the Son of God truly becomes the Lamb, the sacrifice for all of humanity. And here's where it gets really fascinating. This idea of a sacred silence, it didn't just pop up out of nowhere in Revelation. Nope. This was actually predicted centuries before by the prophets in the Old Testament.
Take the prophet Habakkuk, for instance. He basically says, hey, when the Lord is in his holy temple, the whole earth needs to be silent before him. It's this call for everyone to just be still and show reverence when God is on the move.
And then you've got Zephaniah, who makes it even more direct. He says, hold thy peace, which is just old school language for be quiet, because the day of the Lord is coming. So you see this pattern emerging, right? When this huge, significant day arrives, the proper response is silence.
Okay, so what is this day of the Lord they're all talking about? I know, the phrase kind of makes you think of fire and brimstone, right? Judgment and destruction. But the prophets also gave some really specific signs to watch for, signs that point to one single event in human history.
And the prophet Joel gives us the biggest clue of all. He says that right before this great and terrible day of the Lord, the sun itself will turn to darkness. Now that's a pretty specific, hard-to-miss sign, isn't it? And guess what? It actually happened.
And this is the moment where it all just clicks together. Look at this. On one side, you have Joel's prophecy, the sun will be turned into darkness. And on the other, Matthew's eyewitness account of the crucifixion. There was darkness over all the land. Come on. That's a direct match. It's prophecy fulfilled, right there in black and white. So, all the clues are pointing to this one powerful conclusion. That prophesied day of the Lord, that great and terrible day, it was the day of the cross. It was terrible, for sure, because it was the day all the judgment for sin was poured out. But it was also glorious, because it was poured out on Jesus instead of on us. Luke's gospel tells the exact same story. You have this unnatural darkness covering the earth, which perfectly mirrors the sacred silence happening up in heaven. It's like both heaven and earth are holding their breath at the exact same time, watching the single most important moment in all of history unfold.
Okay, so if the silence is all about the cross, then what about the seal that started it? Because remember, this wasn't just seal number 1 or 2. This was the 7th seal, the final one. And in the Bible, numbers aren't just numbers. They're packed with meaning. The number 7 is a big one. Over and over again, it symbolizes perfection, wholeness, and the key word here, completion. So when that 7th seal is opened, it's not about kicking off a new round of chaos and destruction like you might think. It's actually the complete opposite. It's the final reveal of God's entire plan for saving humanity. It's the climax of the whole story, the moment redemption is finally and completely fulfilled.
And the book of Hebrews totally backs this up. It calls the cross a once-in-the-end-of-the-world event, a single perfect sacrifice that dealt with sin once and for all. That's literally the definition of completion, which is exactly what that 7th seal stands for.
All right, let's pull all these pieces together. We've got prophecies about silence when God is present, we've got prophecies about a special day marked by darkness, and we've got the opening of the 7th and final seal, which means completion.
And if we want to get a little nerdy for a second, a quick look at the original Greek is really cool. The word for silence here is sige. It doesn't just mean no noise. It means a holy, sacred kind of quiet. And when the seal, the sfragida, is enoike, or unlocked, the result isn't a huge explosion. It's this deep, reverent hush. The words themselves tell us we're looking at something sacred, not something destructive.
And that's really the heart of it all. The biggest moment in heaven's history, the day of the Lord, it didn't show up with a bang and a crash. It showed up in the quiet suffering and incredible love of a man on a cross. That's silence in heaven. That's the sound of our redemption being won. So let me leave you with this question. If this huge central mystery and revelation, the silence, is really all about the cross, then that kind of changes how we should read the whole book, doesn't it? It challenges us to look beyond all the symbols of doom and gloom and see a deeper story, a story of redemption, a story that's already finished. And it really makes you wonder, what else have we been missing?